there, fantasy owners. LTC Fantasy here. Not sure if you're chiming in watching via YouTube or listening via podcast, but really do appreciate you watching or listening no matter how you're streaming the episode. Today's our midweek waiver wire episodes. We're going to look at some goalies, some defensemen, some forwards, ones that have been on hot streaks over the last couple of weeks or maybe getting some opportunity due to injuries to hopefully help your roster not only this week but future weeks as well. More of a long-term ad. So basically that's it. So we'll get right into it. Some goaltenders to look at this week that might help you out. First one's Philip Grubauer from Seattle, owned in 19% of Yahoo leagues. He has 3 starts since back from injury. 2 of them were W's, and then he had one real stinker in there. But Jones is struggling a bit of late, so maybe Grubauer can sneak his way back into getting the majority of the starts. At least maybe a third string option for you. Next one's Capo Kakinen over in San Jose, owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues. Started 3 of 4 with Reimer out. Reimer is expected back soon, so watch the numbers. Not the greatest, but he should be getting more starts going forward, hopefully. It's more of a real deep league if you're in dire need of a goalie there. Next one's Stuart Skinner over in Edmonton, owned in 51% of Yahoo leagues. He started 4 of the last 5 games there. He's won 3 of his last 4 starts, and Campbell's struggling, and Skinner's really kind of stealing starts away from him there. So as the majority goes, Skinner might be a decent option for you. And the last one's Peter Kochikov, not quite sure how you say it, but in Carolina there, 33% owned. He started 7 of the last 8 games, and he's won his last 3 starts. And with Anderson still on IR, should be a fairly decent option if you're in need of a goalie there. And the last one is Spencer Martin over in Vancouver, owned in 18% of Yahoo leagues. With Demko out 6 weeks, Martin's going to play a ton. He might not have the greatest goals against and save percentage numbers, but if you're in need of volume, that's a viable option for you. Before we get into defensemen, I do want to ask you to subscribe if you can, as we're trying to grow the channel. Really do appreciate the support. No matter if you're listening via podcast or watching via YouTube, really do appreciate it as we're trying to grow it there. That's my little plug, and we'll get into some defensemen now. First one is Justin Schultz from Seattle, owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues, playing that second pairing, second power play unit. He's been pointless the last 2 games, but he did put up 10 points in the previous 6. He is streaky this year, but when he's on, holy crap, does he get a lot of points in a short amount of spell. So if you have a bigger bench in your league, he might be a decent depth add for you. Next one's Cam Fowler over in Anaheim, owned in 20% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit, and he has 12 points in the last 11 games there, 6 power play points, 21 shots on goal. He really has been playing exceptional of late there, and he is on the top power play unit. He even was before Klingberg went on IR there, so he should be a pretty nice depth add for you. Next one, going back to Seattle, look at Vince Dunn, owned in 51% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit. He has 6 points the last 6 games, plus 8, so that helps you out if those are counted. 11 hits and 6 blocks. He's been good in most cats pretty much all year. He gets all the prime ice time there and situations there, so he should be a pretty nice depth piece for you. Next one's Travis Sanheim in Philadelphia there, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit, and he's been really good over these last few weeks here. 7 points in the last 8 games, 11 hits and 16 blocks. He's getting more ice time. He's up on that second power play unit, and with that, he is producing there. He gets nice hit and block totals, so in a deeper league, he'd be a really sneaky, nice ad for you. Next one is Sean Dursey over in LA, owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit. He currently has 7 points in a 5-game point streak. I think he did extend it tonight against Ottawa. That game's still going on there. Have to double check that, but 8 hits and 9 blocks. He's getting nice all-around numbers in different categories there, so he's a well-balanced ad for you and producing pretty good of late, so he should be a pretty good depth piece. Next one is Noah Hannafin over in Calgary, owned in 51% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing second power play unit. He has 7 points the last 12 games, so over half point per game there. 27 shots on goal, 18 hits, and 24 blocks in those 12 games. So with him, you get a little bit of everything. So if you're in a Cats league, he'd definitely be able to add some value for you. Even in a scoring league or one that counts points and hits and blocks, but maybe not plus minus, etc., should be able to get some decent value and some nice depth there. Next one's Matt Benning over in San Jose, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit there, and he's put up 6 points the last 8 games, so pretty nice production. 15 hits and 25 blocks. So he gets you a really nice hit and block total, and he's taking advantage of a really thin blue line in San Jose, other than Carlson, but you're not going to get Carlson. And with that added power play time, etc., he's starting to produce. So in a deep league, he should be a pretty good ad for you. Next one is JJ Moser over in Arizona, owned in 9% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit there. And he's been pointless the last 3, but he put up 5 points the previous 5 games there. He's okay, not great numbers in other categories. Not going to hurt you, not going to wow you, so to speak. So in a real deep league, should be able to provide some value as a depth piece. Next one from Arizona is Jacob Chikrin, owned in 63% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit there. And he has 6 points the last 7 games there, with 31 shots on goal, 12 hits, and 10 blocks. He's chipping in everywhere. He's definitely be good in a Cats league for you, or a well-balanced league. He'll definitely provide some nice depth. Next one is Brent Pesch over in Carolina, only owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit. He's put up 5 points the last 5 games there, 9 shots on goal, and 9 blocks. Of course, he's not going to keep up that offense, but he should get you right around 30-35 points over the year. He's decent all-around numbers, and of late, he's been even better, so could be a really nice depth piece, especially in deeper leagues. Next one is Rasmus Sandin over in Toronto, owned in 22% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, up on that top power play. He has 4 points the last 8 games, so half point per game, 22 hits and 14 blocks. His points, you'd like a little bit more with that top power play, but they've been riding him on that top power play since Riley's went down, so should expect hopefully some more production there. All of his points that he's scored in those 8 games, though, is when he's played under 20 minutes a game. Kind of a reverse. Normally, if you get added ice time, the production increases for him. His sweet spot is right in that 18-minute mark. So if they keep him around that, you should be able to get some decent value. And the last one, going back to Arizona, is Shane Gostisbehere, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit. And he's put up 7 points the last 6 games there with 8 blocks. He was streaky, but he really seems to be settling into his own since he's been paired with Chikrin there. They seem to have really good chemistry together, and as long as that pairing stays together, could be a really nice depth piece for you. Now we'll move along to forwards there. First one is Matty Beniers from Seattle, listed as a center, owned in 41% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second line, second power play unit, and he has 12 points in the last 7 games. Some really nice production there. 20 shots on goal, giving you some hits. 10 hits in those 7 games, and 5 blocks in 7 games, which is pretty damn good for a forward there. The kid is doing a little bit of everything right now and should be a pretty good ad for you going forward. Next one is Jeff Skinner over in Buffalo, listed as a left winger, owned in 65%. Pretty sure this will be the last time that I get to mention him in an episode for quite a while. Playing top line, top power play unit, because he's been on one hell of a tear. 13 points the last 7 games with 30 shots on goal. As I mentioned, Probably the last time I'm going to be able to mention him. He's hot right now, and if he's available in your league, do snatch him up. Should be a really nice added piece for you. Next one's Blake Wheeler over in Winnipeg. Listed as a right winger, owned in 56% of Yahoo leagues. Playing top line, top power play unit. He currently has 10 points in a 5-game point streak. Not sure if he extended it tonight. I don't think so far. 14 shots on goal and 5 blocks. He's really hot right now, and he's been consistent all year. So don't expect 10 points over 5 games, but he's been pretty steady all year, getting you fairly consistent points. So if he is available, should be a pretty nice addition. Next one, going back to Seattle's Andrei Burakovsky, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 59% of Yahoo leagues. Playing top line, top power play unit there. And he has 10 points in the last 6 games, so really nice production. 19 shots on goal, nice shot total in that amount of time too. He's been really hot of late and consistent all year. I really like that he's been consistent, hot right now. Should be a pretty nice ad for you if you can get him. Next one is in Buffalo. Look at Dylan Cousins, listed as a center, owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that second line, up on that top power play unit, and he's put up 9 points in a 4-game point streak, so really hot this week, last week and a bit here, and he has points in 7 of the last 8 games, so it's been over a little bit longer stretch there. He has been really good. And Buffalo can score, as they've shown. That second line's been really producing of late there. And he should be a pretty nice ad if you can fit him in on your roster. Next one's over in San Jose. Look at Logan Couture. Listed as a center, owned in 54% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line, top power play unit there. He's put up 13 points the last 11 games. And he gets you some really nice shot on goal hits and block totals. Really well-rounded player there, so should be a pretty good ad, especially in a Cats league or a well-balanced league. Next one is Andrei Kuzmenko over in Vancouver, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 46% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit there, and he has 12 points the last 9 games. He really is kind of a feast or famine player. He has 8 multi-point games already this year. That kind of shows how his production's chunked up in stretches there. He gets them in bunches, then he's kind of a ghost. But when he does get them in bunches, overall he's pretty close to a point-per-game player. Just matter if you can stomach those bagels and then wait for those big multi-point games for you. Next one's Jordan Eberle over in Seattle. Listed as a right winger, owned in 19% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second line, up on the top power play unit. He's been pretty damn good, the old vet. 14 points the last 11 games there, with 30 shots on goal. As I mentioned, he's been pretty good these last few weeks there. In a deeper league, he could bring some really nice value for you. Next one is over in St. Louis. Look at Robert Thomas. Listed as a center, owned in 55% of Yahoo leagues there. Playing that top line, top power play unit. And he's put up 15 points the last 13 games there with 20 shots on goal. He really did have a slower start, so his ownership dipped down. But he's been heating up late. He's close to almost a point per game now for the season. And with that, he should be really good going forward. You know how he finished that second half last year, and it seems to be picking it up again. Next one's over in Tampa Bay. Look at Nicholas Paul, listed as center left winger, owned in 42% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line, second power play unit there. He has 7 points the last 6 games there, with 12 shots on goal, 11 hits, and 6 blocks. He's been chipping in everywhere. With that, he should be pretty decent in a Cats league or a well-balanced league. Should provide some pretty good depth. Next one, going over to Boston. Look at David Krejci. Listed as a center, owned in 23% of Yahoo leagues. Playing second line, second power play unit there. And he has 10 points in the last 8 games. So over a point per game over the last few weeks there. Plus 4. 3 of those points being power play points. 18 shots on goal and 5 blocks. As you can see with that, he is a well-rounded player, so should be pretty good in a Cats league or a again, a well-balanced league where you kind of get points in multiple categories there. Next one is Kevin Hayes over in Philadelphia. Listed as a center, owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit there. And he has points in 10 of the last 12 games with 37 shots on goal in those 12 games. So averaging over 3 shots a game, which is a ton. And he's been really consistent all year. So if you can squeeze him in your roster, should be a pretty nice depth piece for you. Going over to New Jersey, look at Yegor Sharangovich. Listed as center left winger, owned in 10% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that third line, and he has 8 points in the last 9 games there, with 18 shots on goal and 7 blocks. He's a little hit and miss. He's a little bit streaky with his offense there. Only gets third line minutes, so that scares me a little bit. But with that kind of production, 8 points the last 9 games, in a deeper league, could provide a nice little depth add for you. Next one is Daniel Sprong over in Seattle, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, plays only on the fourth line, but gets second unit power play time there. And he has 7 points the last 7 games with 16 shots on goal. His production's been really good of late. That fourth line minutes kind of scare me, but he does get some power play time. So if you're in a real deep league, he could provide some depth for you. Going back to San Jose, look at Thomas Hertl, listed as a center, owned in 62% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top line, top power play unit, and he has 11 points the last 11 games there, with 27 shots on goal, 14 hits, and 9 blocks in there. He really is well-rounded and should provide some decent depth in basically most formats there. He gets the offense, gets you the hits and blocks for catch leagues, gets you the offense again for scoring leagues, so it should be a pretty nice depth piece. Going back to Buffalo, look at Jack Quinn, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second line, second power play unit there, and he has 9 points the last 8 games with 18 shots on goal. That second line in Buffalo, as I alluded to earlier with Cousins, is really rolling right now, and him being in the top 6 for a while, he's continuing to produce. So in a deeper league right now, he should be a pretty nice depth add. Next one is Sean Monahan, listed as a center, owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that third line, but up on the top power play unit. He has 8 points the last 8 games with 20 shots on goal and 5 blocks. He has been playing well, and for a deeper league, should be a pretty good depth piece. But do mention he did leave the last game partway through, so do check on his health status before you do add him, as haven't heard the severity of the injury or if he'll dress tonight when they play Seattle. Next one is Joel Eriksson Ek from Minnesota, listed as a center, owned in 52% of Yahoo leagues, centering that third line, but up on the top power play unit there. And he has 10 points in the midst of his 6-game point streak there, 20 shots on goal, 12 hits, 4 blocks. He'd be a solid add, and he's good in most categories. Should be a pretty nice depth piece for you if you can fit him on your roster. Going back to Winnipeg, look at Cole Perfetti, listed as center, left wing, and right wing, so like that you can slot him anywhere. Only owned in 27% of leagues, playing on that top line, second power play unit, and he has 7 points in a 5-game point streak right now with 15 shots on goal. He's up on that top line, and the kid has talent, so as long as he's with Scheifele and Wheeler there, he should continue to produce and could be a pretty nice depth piece for you. Going back to Seattle, been talking about Seattle a lot so far this episode. Look at Jared McCann, listed as center left winger, owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit there, and he has 6 goals and 2 assists for 8 points in the last 8 games there. 6 goals in 8 games is one hell of a stretch. 19 shots on goal and 10 hits. He's been pretty good, so he should be a really nice depth piece in a deeper league. He's not going to keep up that production, but should be a pretty good depth add for you. Going over to LA, look at Victor Arvidsson, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there, and he has 10 points the last 10 games, so point per game for a while, 20 shots on goal and 8 blocks. And with that, he's been fairly consistent all year. He should be able to provide you some pretty nice depth no matter what the format you're in. Next one is Alex Killorn over in Tampa, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 30% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit, and he's put up 12 points over the last 10 games there, so over a point per game for a pretty good stretch there, with 22 shots on goal. He's been rolling for a while now, and with that, if you're in an offensive-based league, he should provide some nice depth. Next one is Dawson Mercer over in New Jersey, listed as center right winger, owned in 18% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit, and he has 7 points the last 7 games there, 15 shots on goal, and 5 blocks in those 7 games. Really nice block numbers for a forward. He's up on that Hughes line, and with that, he is producing. As long as he stays with Hughes, should be a pretty nice depth add for you, especially in deeper leagues. And the last one is Tyler Seguin over in Dallas there, listed as center right winger, owned in 59% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit. He has 8 points in the last 9 games there, so almost a point per game, and 21 shots on goal. He's been fairly solid all year, so in an offensive-based league, especially if it's a deeper league, you should get some pretty good value out of him. Do hope you did enjoy today's episode. We'll be out in a bit with our Weekend Ads episode. If you did like it and you're watching via YouTube, remember to hit like, hit subscribe, remember that notification bell so you don't miss out on future episodes. If you're listening via podcast, hit follow, give us a five-star review there, hit subscribe, hit that heart, depending what platform you're watching it on. Really do appreciate the support. Love that you're helping us grow this channel. And we'll talk to you soon there, fantasy owners.